Hello. So I thought I'd work on another example when it comes to sketching cubic curves of the form ax cubed plus bx squared plus cx plus d, and just something a little bit more challenging. And at least when it first meets the eye, it might look a bit more challenging. So say we are given y equals 1 minus x squared times x plus, or 3 plus x. Right, well the thing to realize right at the outset is that when y equals 0, right, when we set y to equal 0, actually I'll write it this way, when we set y to equal 0, well x is just going to be 1 here, and then 1 squared, so it's going to be 1 twice, and x is going to be negative 3. So if I read it out this way, say, just to make it very clear, 1 minus x squared plus and times 3 plus x, we're setting it to equal 0, so when y equals 0, well x is going to equal 1 twice, because it's squared, so 1 twice, we can just write 1 twice, and it's going to be, we're going to have a root at negative 3. Now when x equals 0, what's y going to be? Well, we can just set x equals 0 here, set x equals 0 here, and we've got 1 minus 0, that's just 1, 1 squared is 1, 3 plus 0 is 3, so that's just 1 times 3. Of course, it's going to leave us with y equals 3. And now we really just need to find out what happens to y when x is increasingly negative and when it's increasingly positive at large values. And so when x tends toward positive infinity, y tends toward, well, let's just pick an arbitrary number, say positive 10, which is large enough in this context. And we say 1 minus, or x is going to equal 10, so 1 minus 10 squared times 3 plus 10. Well, 1 minus 10 is negative 9. You square that, it's going to be 81, positive 81. And this is 3 plus 10 is 13, so it's 81 times 13. We don't need to work that out, we just know that this is going to be some positive value. And so, and we know then as x tends toward infinity, this is increasingly positive at large values, y is also going to tend toward positive infinity. Now, what happens when x tends toward negative infinity? Well, we can already tell what's going to happen, but I'll just work through it for the sake of showing the steps. So when x tends toward negative infinity, y is going to, well, let's just use negative 10, so 1 minus negative 10, all of that squared, times 3 plus negative 10. Well, 1 minus, that's just going to be plus, right? Double negative. So 1 plus 10 is 11. You square 11, it's 121. And this is 3 minus 10, it's just negative 7. And so the reason I said you can tell already is because it's fairly obvious that you're going to have a positive value here and a negative value. So a positive value times a negative value, I should say. And so we're going to end up with a negative value. And we don't need to multiply all this out to save time. We could if we wanted to, but we know, in any case, we have our key piece of information, that when x tends toward negative infinity, y is also going to tend toward negative infinity. And so we can sketch our graph now. We have all the information that we need. And so if I draw the y-axis like this, and we have our roots at 1 and negative 3, so draw it looks something like this, and we know that we have a y-intercept, y value 3, and we have negative 3, so all the way over here, and we have roots at 1. Now, I suppose this is a point of revision as well, is that we have x equals 1 twice. What that means is that the curve is actually going to be at a tangent. It's going to just it's not going to cross the x-axis at 1 like this. Instead, it's going to be at a tangent, and I'll show you what that means in a second. So we've got y, right, a y-axis, x-axis, and so this is the piece of information that we need to start. When x is increasingly negative, y is increasingly negative. So we know the graph is going to come from this direction. It's going to come up like this. It's going to cross at our y-intercept, which is 3. It's going to come back down. And we know that when x is increasingly positive, so when it's increasingly positive, y is also increasingly positive. So it's like that. And we know that x equals 1 twice. So it's going to come down like this. And it's not going to cross, it's just going to basically kiss at the point. Maybe I can draw that a little bit better. It comes up like this, and it comes right back down. It's still not very good. Comes up like this. Whoops. Comes right back down. Yeah, so it's not going to cross, it's just going to kiss like that, and then it's going to come right back up.